The first time I saw her after the funeral, she didn't look like the same woman. Emily had always been the loud one in our group, the one who laughed too hard, talked too fast, and somehow made every room feel lighter just by existing in it. But that day, sitting on the edge of her couch with her daughter asleep in her lap, she looked like someone who had been hollowed out from the inside. I didn't know what to say. I had just buried my best friend, and she had buried her husband. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered, not even looking at me. Her fingers were tangled in her daughter Lily's hair, holding on to her like she was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. "You don't have to do it alone," I said. It sounded weak the moment it left my mouth. Words people say because silence feels worse. She gave a small, empty smile. "Everyone says that." I wanted to tell her I meant it differently, that I wasn't just everyone, but I didn't. Because the truth was, I didn't even know what I meant yet. 3 weeks later, I found out she was going to lose the house. It came from a neighbor, not her. She wasn't the kind of person to ask for help. Pride had always been part of her strength, and now it was the thing quietly breaking her. "She's behind on payments," the neighbor said. "Medical bills, I think. It's bad." I didn't even think before I drove over. She opened the door, looking exhausted, like sleep had become a stranger. "You should have told me," I said. "Told you what?" she asked, already defensive. "That you're drowning." "I'm not drowning," she snapped. Then softer, "I'm just figuring things out." I stepped inside anyway. The house felt colder than it used to, even with the heater running. "Emily, they're going to take the house." She froze. For a moment, I thought she was going to deny it. Fight me, push me out. Instead, her shoulders dropped. "I know," she said. That scared me more than anything, because she had already accepted it. The idea came to me that night, and I hated it the second it did. I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, replaying every memory I had with him. My best friend, the guy who used to joke that if anything ever happened to him, I'd better take care of his girls. We had laughed when he said it, because things like that weren't supposed to happen, but they did. And now I was sitting in the aftermath of a promise I never thought I'd have to keep. By morning, the idea hadn't gone away. It had only gotten louder. "I'm not asking for charity," she said the next day, her voice sharp. "I'm not offering charity." "Then what are you offering?" I took a breath. "Marry me." The silence that followed was suffocating. She stared at me like I had just said something insane. Maybe I had. "What?" "It's the simplest solution," I said, even though my heart was pounding like I was about to jump off a cliff. "My income covers the house. My insurance covers Lily. Everything stabilizes." Her face went pale. "You think I'm going to marry you because it's convenient? I think you'll do whatever it takes to protect your daughter." That hit. I saw it in the way her jaw tightened, the way her eyes flickered toward Lily's room. "You're my best friend's wife," I added quietly. "I'm not trying to replace him." "Then what are you trying to do?" "Keep what he loved from falling apart." Her eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them away quickly. "This isn't normal," she said. "No," I agreed. "It's not." She turned away from me, pacing the small living room like she was trying to outrun the weight of the decision. "And what happens after?" she asked. "We just pretend?" "No," I said. "We survive together." That word lingered between us. Together. She stopped walking. For a long moment she just stood there, staring at nothing. Then in a voice so quiet it barely existed, she said, "Okay." The wedding was small. Too small for something that felt this big. There were no flowers, no music, no laughter. Just a quiet agreement wrapped in legal words and heavy silence. Lily held my hand the entire time. She didn't fully understand what was happening, but she understood enough to know that something was changing. When it was over, she looked up at me and asked, "Are you staying with us now?" I knelt down in front of her. "Yeah," I said. "I'm staying." She smiled, and something in my chest tightened in a way I wasn't prepared for. Living together wasn't easy. We were careful around each other, like two people trying not to step on invisible cracks. She slept in the bedroom. I took the couch. We spoke when necessary, about bills, groceries, Lily's school. Nothing more, nothing deeper. But Lily didn't follow those rules. She dragged me into her world without hesitation. Homework at the kitchen table, bedtime stories, random questions about everything from dinosaurs to why the sky changes color. She didn't see me as a replacement. She just saw me as someone who was there. And somehow that made it harder. Months passed. Slowly things began to shift. It started with small things. A conversation that lasted a little longer than necessary. A shared laugh that didn't feel forced. The first time she fell asleep on the couch next to me, her head resting lightly against my shoulder like it had just happened. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just sat there, afraid that if I shifted even slightly, the moment would disappear. But the real change came on a night I'll never forget. It was late. Lily had a fever, and Emily was panicking. "I don't know what to do," she said, her voice shaking. I took control without thinking. Cold compress medicine, steady reassurance. "We're okay," I told her. "She's okay." She watched me like she was seeing something she hadn't noticed before. And when Lily finally fell asleep, Emily didn't leave the room. She just stood there looking at me. "You didn't hesitate," she said. She needed help. So did I. That hung in the air, heavy. "Unavoidable?" "I know," I said. Her eyes softened, and for the first time since everything had started, she didn't look like she was holding herself together out of sheer willpower. She looked tired and real. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. The truth rose in my chest before I could stop it. "Because I love you." The words shocked both of us. I hadn't planned to say them. Maybe I hadn't even fully admitted them to myself until that moment. She stared at me, her expression unreadable. "You don't mean that," she said. "I do. This started as an arrangement." "I know." "Then when did it change?" I swallowed. "I don't know," I admitted. "Maybe it didn't start that way for me. Maybe I just didn't realize it." Her eyes filled again, but this time she didn't look away. "You can't love me," she whispered. "I know who you're still grieving," I said gently. "And I'm not trying to replace him." "Then what are you trying to be?" I stepped closer, careful, giving her space to step back if she needed to. "Someone who stays." That broke something in her. I saw it in the way her shoulders shook, in the way she covered her face like she couldn't hold it in anymore. "I don't know how to move on," she said through tears. "You don't have to," I told her. "Not all at once." She looked at me then, really looked at me, and in that moment I saw something change. Not completely, not magically, but enough. The whisper came later that night, the one that changed everything. We were sitting in the dark, Lily asleep in the next room, the house finally quiet. She leaned her head against my shoulder again, but this time it wasn't accidental. "I think I've been scared of the wrong thing," she said softly. I didn't respond. I just listened. "I thought moving forward meant losing him," she continued. "Like loving anything again would erase what I had." "It won't," I said. She nodded against me. "I know that now." Her hand found mine, and she didn't pull away. "I don't know what this is yet," she admitted, "but I know it's real." I turned slightly, enough to see her face in the dim light. "You don't have to figure it out tonight." She smiled faintly. "No," she said. "But I can choose it." "Choose what?" She squeezed my hand. "Us." A year later, the house felt different. Warmer, louder, alive again. Lily ran through the halls like she owned them, her laughter filling every corner. Emily laughed too. Not the broken, forced version from before. The real one. The one I remembered. The one I had fallen in love with. And one evening, as we stood in the kitchen, watching Lily draw at the table, she leaned into me and whispered something I never expected to hear. "Thank you for not giving up on me." I shook my head. "I never saw it that way." "How did you see it?" I looked at her, at the life we had somehow built out of something that started in desperation, as the best decision I ever made. She smiled, and this time there was no hesitation, no fear, just something steady, something earned, something real. And for the first time, it didn't feel like we were surviving anymore. It felt like we were finally living,